I felt a hand on my shoulder, but no one was there. Cokeville, Wyoming, population 525. At 12:45 p.m. on May 16, 1986, a former town marshal wheels a shopping cart bomb into the elementary school. Children fidget under fluorescent lights. 21 minutes later, fire engulfs the room, yet every hostage survives. Before we end tonight, you'll hear the one question investigators never answered. When terror breaks the walls of a classroom, does the mind create angels, or do angels create the mind's survival? David Young was a former lawman turned paranoid anarchist. Along with his wife Doris, he rolled a homemade gasoline and black powder bomb into Cokeville Elementary. The device was rigged with a dead man's switch tied to David's wrist. His demand, $300 million and a platform to declare himself a philosopher king. By noon, 154 hostages, 140 children and 18 adults, were corralled into the music room. Windows were barricaded. The children were instructed to sing songs to calm the energy. At 12:45 p.m., the bomb accidentally detonated when Doris released the trigger. The resulting fireball severely burned several students. In the chaos, David shot Doris and then turned the gun on himself. And yet, all hostages survived, escaping through shattered windows and a blasted wall. Within hours, children began telling the same story. They spoke of tall, glowing figures who guided them to safety, of a woman in a blue dress who warned them moments before the explosion. Independent of each other, these stories aligned. The local press named it the Cokeville Miracle. But eyewitnesses also described smoke so thick they couldn't see their own hands. So what exactly did they see? In psychology, we call this collective trauma, a shared psychic wound that reshapes a group's identity. In Cokeville, three dynamics played out. First, synchronized shock. The entire town experienced the same existential rupture. Second, narrative urgency. Traumatized minds rushed to fill the chaos with a story. Third, shared meaning-making. Labeling it a miracle allowed the town to heal without blame. Studies show our brains crave stories in crisis. MRI scans reveal a spike in the brain's default mode network, our narrative generator, when we try to make sense of trauma. Storytelling doesn't just comfort us, it chemically soothes the brain. Some psychologists propose the protective hallucination hypothesis. In high-stress situations, our brains may generate dissociative imagery, like battlefield time dilation or phantom limb sensations. In Cokeville, the conditions were extreme. Carbon monoxide poisoning, noise trauma, sensory overload. These can all spark vivid, culturally shaped visions. And this was a devout town. The image of glowing figures aligned perfectly with Latter-day Saint beliefs about guardian angels. Then came the myth-making phase. Parents and clergy framed the story as divine intervention. Church talks, film adaptations, and angel pilgrimages turned a shared trauma into spiritual narrative. But if the mind forged angels, why did dozens describe the same woman in a blue dress? Someone no one in town could identify. Other forces played a role. This was a rural town with little access to trauma counseling. Faith filled that gap. And the 1980s media? They ran with the miracle angle, avoiding questions about how the bomb got built in the first place. Even the school absorbed the myth. Posters of angels stayed up for years. Emergency drills changed. The story shaped behavior long after the blast. We see echoes of this today. TikTok videos recast mass shooting survivors as chosen ones. Survival becomes a story with purpose, sometimes healing, sometimes harmful. So we ask, does calling survival a miracle help us cope? Or does it silence the hard questions we're too afraid to ask? Investigators collected evidence, wiring diagrams, bullet trajectories, the shattered trigger. But in the final report, one note stands out. Multiple child witnesses cite luminous female figure, unidentified. Maybe the hand we feel in crisis is memory's glove, stitched from neurons and love. When terror visits, do we meet it with logic or with the stories we need to stay human? Have you ever felt time slow in danger? Share your moment in the comments. And suggest a case where belief rewrote reality. Let's dissect it together. Next time, the Devil's Fasting app. Inside the online Blue Whale Challenge and the psychology of digital self-destruction.